Good. So, good day, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. So, before we start, just simple introductions. Okay, my name is Ken from Division of Program Promotion in Utah, and I will be the moderator for our webinar today. Okay, so this webinar will be estimated around like 1 hour or less. So, we'll be separated into two parts. The first part will be a quick introductions to Utah. And then the second part will be our webinar topics, which you can see on the screen here. Okay. Today our topic is how to become professional engineers, and shared by our speaker, Dr. Tan Chi Fai. Okay. Simple introductions for our speaker. So Dr. Tan here is associate professor from our Lee Gong Chen Faculty of Science and Engineering in Utah. Okay. So Dr. Tan graduated from this Bachelor of Engineering and also Master in Engineering in UPM, and completed his PhD in engineering as well in Netherlands. And you can see from the screen there, so Dr. Tan is also a registered professional engineer, carrying this title IR salutation in his name. Okay. So now let's move on. Okay, good. So before we get started, just a simple advertisement. So Utah, we currently running this undergraduate and postgraduate open day, starting from today, 18th of September until end of this month, 30th of September. So this is an online cyber open day. Okay, so you can visit us by scanning the QR code or visit in our website study.utah.edu.my. What you can expect for this cyber open day is we have this career guidance workshop, we have webinar, we have a virtual campus tour, student project showcase. We even have this live chat and video chat functions. Okay, so you have some friends or family would like to know about Utah, feel free to visit our cyber open day. Okay, so now let's move on to the first part. So a quick introduction to Utah. So for Utah, we have two campuses. The first one will be our Kampar campus, located in Perak. Another will be Sungalang campus, located in Kajang, Selangor. We move on to the first one, Utah Kampar campus. You can see this campus is built up upon this 1,300 acre piece of land, a very nice campus surrounded with the lake, create a very great green scenery to the environment there. Okay, students are relaxing, enjoy the campus. So within the campus, there's one famous, not say famous, a landmark in our Kampar campus will be this Tun Dr. Lim Leong Sik Hall. Okay. This hall is mainly used for those major events such as your convocations, your exam, and also some international events such as the Asian Science Fair. So currently, this grand hall also be used as the vaccine center for Kampar residents to speed up the vaccination rate in Malaysia. I hope everyone here get their first or second dose of vaccine. So for Utah Kampar, also rich with biodiversity. So most of the students there are cycling or walking or even take the buses to the campus. This helps to reduce the carbon release and create a more sustainable environment for next generations. So now let's move on to Utah Sungalang campus. As you can see from the screen here, a two building, a multi-purpose building. Within these two buildings, we have a lectures hall, tutorial room, gym, libraries, and also a wide range of engineering related lab. We also have these architecture studios and two medical museum. One will be our traditional Chinese medicines and also medicines museum. Besides that, we also focus in research and also have this physiotherapy center and broadcasting and video shooting studio. So this helps to accommodate a wide range of the study areas in Utah. So it depends on which program you're interested in, you're using the respective facilities. So overall, in Utah, we have more than 120 programs offered. And within these 20 years, we have created more than 60,000 alumni. Based on our latest study, around 95 to 97% of students able to score a job within 6 months after their graduations. In Utah, we also offer more than 70 of student clubs and societies for students. Generally, the area of study can be summarized into 10 areas, starting from like accounting and business, social science, creative industry, and up until engineering IT and medical health sciences. So do check with us if you are interested in any of the programs. So before I pass the floor to Dr. Tan, please follow and like our Facebook in Utah for you. Okay. So this round up for my quick introduction to Utah. So I will pass the floor to our speaker today, Dr. Tan. So Dr. Tan, are you there?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Tan. Hi, nice to see you. Okay, so I pass the floor to you for our webinar.
Okay, let me share my slide.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, is my slide visible?
Yep, yours right is
Nothing broken, right? Nothing is broken, right?
Yep, very nice and clear.
Okay, very good day to all and very good afternoon to all as well, whether you are a student or future student, the parents, and etc. My name is Qifai. I'm one of the lecturers at the Department of Biomedical and Mechatronics Engineering under the Li Gongqian Faculty of Engineering and Science, LKCFES, at Utah Sonalong. If you refer my name, I have the title Engineer Dr. Tan Qifai. So IR is a acronym for the professional engineers in Malaysia that regulated by the Board of Engineers Malaysia. Okay, so I have I'm not only a professional engineer, I also the professional engineer with practicing cert. Okay, with practicing cert, it means that I'm the certified person, a PE who can sign the drawing, the technical drawing, especially the drawing that related to the mechanical engineering. So myself is a mechanical engineer, so I can authorize person to sign anything, any drawing that related to the mechanical engineering, such as aircon system, firefighting system, plumbing. This is the main one for me to sign to certify the design and then comply to the standard and comply to the regulation, as well as the most important is that to ensure the safety of the design. So this is my role. Okay, this is my role. So beside that, myself focus mainly on the digital transformation. Right. Okay, let me start my presentation. And then okay. Okay, the engineering profession in Malaysia, Malaysian, engineering profession in Malaysia benchmark against the world best, so recognized internationally. And then it is the professions of choice. Why our engineering profession in Malaysia recognized internationally? It's because the first one is a engineering program in Malaysia already well known and certified and accredited by the Engineering Accreditation Council. Okay, and then Malaysia is one of the full signatory member of the Washington Accord that look into the quality of the engineering program. Okay, this is the first step. So we as a engineering profession, okay, for me, right, as a professional engineer, we are recognized in worldwide. We can not only become the professional engineers in Malaysia, as well as we can become the so-called ASEAN Chartered Professional Engineers, or so-called ACPE, okay, in ASEAN, and as well as we also can register as an ASEAN engineer under the ASEAN Engineering Register, AFIO, as well as we also can register as a APEC engineer, APEC. It means we can practice engineering services in the Asia Pacific region. Okay, as well as we also can register as an international professional engineer under the IEA, International Engineering Alliance. Right, these are our advantage as a engineers in Malaysia. So due to this, engineers in Malaysia, we can travel to other countries to provide the services. For example, the graduate that graduated from the accredited engineering program in Malaysian University, for example, Utah. The graduate can travel to any of the countries that also the signatory members of the Washington Accord, like Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and etc. Is our advantage. Besides that, as a professional engineer who become the ACPE, we also have advantages to travel among the 10 ASEAN countries to provide our engineering services, as well as in Asia Pacific and internationally. Okay, so I'd like to introduce about Board of Engineers Malaysia (BEM). Board of Engineers Malaysia (BEM) is a regulatory body that regulates the engineers in Malaysia. It formed in 1972 under the Registration of Engineers Act 1967. So the latest amendment enforced in the 31st July 2015. For your information, I have registered myself as a professional engineer or successfully recognized as a professional engineer in years 2006. I received my member of IEM, the Institution of Engineers, in 2005. So 2006 is a professional engineers registration. So in the years of I think 2015, right? They are changing some of the ruling. So I also successfully registered as a professional engineer with practicing cert. So BEM's primary role is to safeguard the safety and interest of the public. First, to facilitate the registration of engineers, engineering technologies, inspector of works, engineering consultancy practices. Secondly, to regulate the professional conduct and practice of registered person. This is the Registration of Engineers Act 1967, and the amendment up to 2015. You can refer to the Board of Engineers website to further understand about this Registration of Engineers Act 1967. For this latest amendment on the IEA, right, Registration of Engineers Acts, the purpose of the act is to protect the public by legislative control, so that practice of engineering which has a bearing on public safety, health, and welfare can only be carried out by licensed professional engineers. Secondly, to create a regulatory body with mandate to carry out licensing of professional engineers and regulation of the profession. Thirdly, to set regulations pertaining to the practice of engineering, qualifications for licensing, and code of professional conduct for registered engineers. And fourth, to maintain public confidence in the standard of services provided by licensed professional engineers. And lastly, to designate the board as an authority to represent Malaysia on provision of engineering services under GATT's classifications. Okay, the interpretation of Section 2. So you can see that professional engineering services means engineering services as advised in connection with any feasibility study, planning, survey, design, construction, commissioning, operation, maintenance, and management of engineering services or project, and includes in any other engineering services approved by the board. So me as a PE, right, professional engineer, we can do this kind of services. So engineering works means that all works which include any publicly and privately owned public utilities, buildings, machines, equipment, processes, works, or project that require the application of engineering principles and data. So the amendment, registered 5 categories of registered person in red. This IE also look into the accredited checker. Also the one I mentioned, I'm a PE with PC. Okay. Third is a professional engineer tier 1, graduate engineer, engineering technologist, and inspector of works. So the engineering profession in Malaysia is regulated by Board of Engineer, as I mentioned, right? PM regulate the registration as graduate engineers, engineering technologies, and inspector of works, as well as registration as professional engineers and registration as a licensed professional engineer, and ownership and directorship of engineering consultancies, right? This is a schematic that refer to the board engineers registered person. You see that after the engineering student graduated from the university, within 3 months, the engineering student, the graduate need to register with the board as a graduate engineer. At the same time, for other technologies, right, also can register as a engineering technologist, as well as inspector of work. From the graduate engineer, with a minimum of 3 years, then they can go for professional engineer, and then they go for test, and then they can become professional engineer with practicing certificate. Okay, so graduate engineer are most often assigned to teams supervised by experienced engineers. This is a very common term. A graduate engineer may find employment in a variety of industries depending on their background, engineering specialty, and training. As a graduate engineer in the field of civil engineering, for instance, you work on scientific project as part of a team, design civil grading, and prepare reports. In a graduate mechanical engineering role, you are involved in upgrades of machinery, coordinating technical project components, and participating in the team meeting. Regardless of your specialty, right? As a graduate engineer, you get to build work experience in lower level roles while working with veterans, the senior in your chosen field. So this is some of the BEM official graduate engineering branches and sub branches. You can refer to the 4 main branches under the BEM, like civil, mechanical, electrical, and chemical. So under civil, you can see the sub branch is a building, construction, environmental, geotechnical, mining, structural, transportation, and mechanical. You see the 12 of the sub branches for mechanical, 3 for electrical, and 4 for chemical engineering. So the level knowledge of engineering science for the 3 categories as follows. So now I refer to the graduate engineer. So you can see the category for graduate engineer is a category that able to apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering problem. So the graduate engineer need to equip with this kind of a graduate attribute that can solve the complex engineering problem. As you know, the engineering problem is not so simple, not so straightforward. It's become complex, comprehensive. So we need to train the engineers, right? The graduate engineer with this kind of capability. So UTA is a good choice. UTA with many of the capable and experienced lecturers, associate professor, they always guide the student towards on this direction, and then well accepted by the industry and etc. So the qualification for graduate engineer. So any of the graduate engineer need to have at least minimum 4 years engineering degree from a Malaysian university which has been accredited by the Engineering Accreditation Council of BEM or Engineer Malaysia. For your information, myself, I'm the council member of Engineering Technology Accreditation Council, ETAC. I'm one of the council member of ETAC. Okay, I also the reviewer, engineering program reviewer for Engineering Accreditation Council of BEM. So this, in addition on the first one, the 4-year engineering degree, right? Accredited 4-year engineering degree, from an overseas university which is a signatory to the Washington Accord, also acceptable to register as graduate engineer. Third one is a BEM pre-ESC listing, including the UK 3 years qualification until 2000, and then a licensed aircraft engineer with category C and marine engineer with COC class 1 also can register as a graduate engineer under the Board of Engineer Malaysia. So another one is that 4 years or more JPA PM recognized engineering qualification from Russia, from France, CI, as well as 4 years Mombushu recognized engineering degree from Japan based on intake until June 2009. FIANI is from Europe, right? Index of least 4 or 5 years diploma engineering Fraunhofer, this one from German, or 3+2 qualification in a related discipline. Okay, in this slide, PPT, I would like to share about the list of the degree that offered by Lee Kong Chian Faculty of Engineering and Science undergraduate program. So you can see the LKC FES is a very important faculty under the Utah Institute of Tunku Abdul Rahman. Before the program like Bachelor of Science in Actuarial Science, Bachelor of Science honors in Applied Mathematics with Computing and as well as Financial Mathematics. Programming wise, we offer the Bachelor of Science honors in Software Engineering and Pure Science. We have the Bachelor of Science honors in Physics, as well as for Built Environment. LKC FES also offer the Bachelor of Science honors in Architectures and Bachelor of Science honors in Quantity Surveying. For the engineering, LKC FES of Utah also offering various courses program that are in line with the industrial needs, right? Okay. First program is the Bachelor of Engineering honors in Biomedical Engineering. We have the Chemical Engineering, Civil Engineering, Electrical and Electronic Engineering, as well as Electronics and Communication Engineering, Electronics for the major in Computer Networking, Materials and Manufacturing Engineering, Mechanical Engineering, as well as Mechatronics Engineering. So this is a list of the degree program, engineering program that offered by the LKC FES Utah. Okay, the engineering program in LKC FES Utah all are accredited by the Engineering Accreditation Council of Board of Engineers Malaysia. Okay, it means that the graduate of the engineering program from LKC FES, they are eligible to register as graduate engineer with Board of Engineers Malaysia. This is our advantage. Okay, we have a very good and dedicated engineering lecturer team to enable our program as always accredited by the EAC or Board of Engineering Malaysia, right? And we also ensure the quality of our Utah engineering graduate, right, in par with others, and always well accepted by the industry in Malaysia as well as internationally. Okay, it's a professional pathway. Okay, you can see from below the red color. Okay, any engineering program, 4-year engineering program that accredited by ESC in direct also recognized by Washington Accord. Then this student can register as a graduate engineer, and after 3 years of the practice in industry with the number of years of experience, 3 years, minimum 3 years, and then the graduate engineer can sit for the professional assessment examination. Okay, if the graduate engineer pass, and then he or she can register as a professional engineer with the board. Okay, to become the practicing professional engineer, a professional engineer need to sit for so-called PCE, professional competency examination, to become the PE with PC. Okay, this is the level, the highest level of the professional engineer, right? A person can endorse and sign on the drawing, engineering drawing, okay, and practice a consultancy, engineering consultancy services in Malaysia. Okay, professional engineer, a PE, short form of professional engineer, is a registered with Board of Engineers Malaysia under Section 10(2) of the Registration of Engineers Act 1967, revised 2015. Applicant who applies for registration as a professional engineer must hold hold recognized degree and register as a graduate engineer with PM. So I highlight a recognized degree. They are similar to the accredited degree. Accredited engineering degree is very important. Utah is offering the accredited engineering degree. Right. In addition, the applicants are required to fulfill 3 years registration as graduate engineer before being eligible to apply for professional engineer. So route to become professional engineer, there are 3 routes: route A, B, and C. Route A is the normal one. It means that a graduate engineer or PM, okay, from the day he or she registered, officially accepted as a graduate engineer, and then counted from the day on that day, 3 years with the practical experience, sufficient one, and then he or she can sit for the professional assessment examination, PAE, okay, they're conducted by a board. Second route, okay, a person, okay, that has passed the code of conduct assessment, okay, Engineering Act 1967, and then he or she may be from the overseas, okay, you can see that the second one, applicant shall submit to PM certified latest professional engineer certificate issued by regulatory body room overseas. He or she then can register. After the board endorses it, then he able to register as a professional engineer in Route B, mainly similar to some of the PE from European countries, Australia, New Zealand, etc. Okay, he or she can go for this Route B. Okay, for Route C, actually is from the corporate member of the IEM, okay, because the Institution of Engineers Malaysia is also recruit the corporate member. Okay, the corporate member of the IEM, they are eligible to apply as professional engineer. Route C under the Board of Engineers Malaysia. For further information about this matter, you can refer to the Institution of Engineers Malaysia. For path Route A and B, you can refer to the Board of Engineers Malaysia. Okay, reason to become professional engineer is that there are really many reasons, but most fall are under these 4 categories. First, a legal necessity. Okay. Secondly, it improves the employment security. Thirdly, it's better opportunities for advancement, and lastly, for the personal satisfaction. So engineers are important. Engineers apply science and technology to create useful things for human need. Okay, let me challenge this one was the quote by Kofi Annan. Let me challenge all of you to help mobilize global engineering and technology to tackle the interlocking crisis of hunger, disease, environmental degradation, and conflict that are holding back the developing world, given by Kofi Annan in the year 2002. It's actually engineers and engineering community all supporting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, SDG goal. There are 17 of the SDG goal that engineers can contribute, engineering community can contribute to assist, also to build up, to solve the problem, to cure up the pain point of the world. Okay, concluding is that the engineering profession in Malaysia is now recognized worldwide. It's a profession of choice, benchmark, and accredited with the international gold standard. So our Malaysia engineering degree, most of engineering degree program in Malaysia are accredited by Engineering Accreditation Council, ESC. So for Utah University Tunggal Dalaman, under the LKC FPS, we are offering the engineering degree. They are accredited by the Engineering Accreditation Council, by the Board of Engineers Malaysia. And with this recognition, right, of the accredited degree, the graduate engineers from the University of Tunggal Dalaman, they not only can practice engineering in Malaysia, they also can go overseas, okay, to the country which are the full signatory member of the Washington Accord, right? To practice the engineering. Okay, this one also promote the international mobility of engineer worldwide. is one of the advantage, okay, for those potential student, right, that who going to join the UTA lah. Is the what UTA can offer to you, especially under the LKC FES. So another one, for me, right, I did practicing engineering, mechanical engineering since 2006, yeah, until today. I still practicing the engineering consultancy services in the industry. So for me, we need to have a good and sustainable development, okay, to our countries and enable the good environment, especially nowadays the pandemic, right? We as the engineering community, we also can play a very important role to assist the country to fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, and then what I mentioned here is that I, as a project engineer, with practicing cert, I always follow the board engineers ruling to enable the public safety. Of course, as I mentioned, right, the most important for as a professional engineer with practicing certificate is to ensure the public safety and what we design for public is safe and in a more sustainable way. Okay, more sustainable way. It's a this kind of knowledge and experience equipped with most of the lecturer in LKC FES UTA. So UTA is your choice. Please do think about, okay, to enroll the engineering program under the Lee Kong Chen Faculty of Engineering Science, University Tunku Abdul Rahman. We are waiting for you. Okay, we're looking forward to hear the good news that you are joining the University of Tunku Abdul Rahman. I think that's all for my presentation for today. Okay.